All right, first up, we got the Appalachian Snake Church. And you're never gonna guess what reptile they're obsessed with. Snakes. It's snakes. This church started in the early 1900s, founded by George Went Hensley, who died of old age in 1955. I'm just kidding, he died to a rattlesnake bite. Who would have guessed, right? Absolute shocker. The church figured that handling the snakes with the strongest venom shows the strongest faith. And sure, many people are happy to express their faith through songs or some community help, but the Appalachian Snake Church took a different approach. The concept was straightforward but kind of crazy. If your belief was strong enough, dealing with snakes wouldn't lead to, the emergency room. Followers just thought that if they were bitten, their faith would keep them safe from danger. And let's just say they put this belief to the test. Many times. Well, the problem was that sometimes the snakes didn't get the message. Bites happened very often, and while some were seen as just part of the experience, others turned out to be very deadly. Emphasis on the dead. Lee. This group's special way of showing their devotion brought them fame. They were in some documentaries and stuff. Look, if my pastor's wrangling a frickin' python, you better believe I'm gonna listen like a good child. The Raelian movement. Alright, for this next one, you really gotta hear what they believed in first to get the full experience. So, for your information, 25,000 years ago, an alien race called the Elohim arrived. I have no idea what they're supposed to look like, so we're just gonna use this dude to represent them. So, 25,000 years ago, the Elohim arrived, and bam, they made life. Actually, they didn't just create it, that'd be crazy. They used laboratories. And then, bam, they created life. And then I guess they left for 25,000 years for some reason, until this guy was born. Claude Vorilhon, the founder of the Raelian movement. Yep, this whole story has been according to him. He's the leader of the cult and the provider of all of our information. Why? And why does he get this role? Because, again, according to him, the Elohim came back after that 25,000 year gap and decided to make this man our prophet. His goal was apparently to warn humanity that we're in our age of apocalypse after the bomb dropped in Hiroshima. We had to either choose to destroy ourselves or to live peacefully. And I guess thank the Elohim for Claude, because he must have been the one that stopped us from blowing ourselves up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Please tell me he wrote a book. And dear viewer, you are in good fortune, because of course he did. He first wrote one called The Book Which Tells the Truth, followed shortly by Extraterrestrials Took Me to Their Planet. In it, he described being taken to their planet. No way. And while he was there, he learned about their society, where only the most smartest people were chosen to be the leaders. So, how do you join? First up, you gotta get baptized. The process is called transmission, or the cellular plan if you're weird. So, first up, you gotta get a priest. Then it's gotta be on a specific date, like the date that the A-bomb dropped, or like the day that Claude met Jesus, Muhammad, and Buddha on the Raelian spaceship. Special dates like that. And no, I won't be elaborating on the spaceship thing. From there, someone will sprinkle a few drops of water on your forehead. Then everyone joins hands in a circle around you. And, obviously, that sends your genetic code over to the Elohim, who will now make you immortal and stuff. The only catch is that you have to donate 10% of your income to Claude, so he can build a church or something. But that's small potatoes compared to immortality, right? The Church of Euthanasia. Many people believe that saving the environment is about recycling and using reusable bags. Many people are incorrect. The Church of Euthanasia is ready to take things much further. Established in 1992, this church supports population control by promoting voluntary death. Their motto, protect the earth, end your life. Subtle, isn't it? The Church of Euthanasia was started by Reverend Chris Corda, who viewed humanity as a problem for the planet and figured that reducing the number of people was the only way to help save the earth. They told people to just stop having kids and overall to not contribute to the issue of overpopulation. The group also provided a list of useful suggestions, which included supporting safe methods of euthanasia. Safe methods of euthanasia. Yep, because nothing represents caring for the environment like encouraging people to lower their carbon footprint for good. And naturally, the church's method hasn't really gained traction, maybe because people see their approach as a bit too extreme. But hey, at least they stick to their theme of extreme sustainability, even if it's like the most serious take on it. Alright, boom. Marshall Applewhite, founder of Heaven's Gate. This was a cult that had some interesting beliefs. Their main thing was being fully convinced that the aliens were coming to save them. Forget Instagram fame or moving up in your job. These people chose to focus on what they really wanted in life. Catching a ride in a spaceship that's supposedly hiding behind the Halley-Bopp comet. Yup, screw Elon Musk. These guys are clearly much more qualified to lead the charge with space travel. Marshall Applewhite, a man who could be considered one of the strangest space enthusiasts on Earth, joined forces with Bonnie Nettles in the 1970s to create Heaven's Gate. Applewhite wasn't just any ordinary space fan. He saw himself as a messenger with, let's say, divine insight, responsible for guiding his followers to the next level. Members thought that they had to let go of their earthly containers to level up. Every cult really tries their hardest to turn it into a video game, don't they? The concept was simple. The only way to board the spacecraft was through a well-planned, organized, mass exit from life. In March 1997, as the Hale-Bopp comet got closer, Applewhite and his 38 devoted followers moved into their California mansion for the weirdest ceremony they could have held. They had on matching tracksuits and black Nikes. If you're leaving Earth, might as well look fresh. They took some turns eating some poison pudding and then all stopped living. The media went crazy, but who can really say that they're wrong? Just looking at the photos makes you think of a weird field trip that ended horribly. Then there's the Manson family. Led by the infamous Charles Manson, this group was more like a horror movie cast in the family. Manson talked about a coming race war that he called Helter Skelter, which, coincidentally, had the same name as the Beatles song. Manson thought that only he could understand the secret messages in the Beatles that predicted war. If you're confused, the authorities were too, because Manson's logic made your typical conspiracy theorist seem reasonable. Manson and his followers carried out a number of violent murders to speed up this war, ending with the murder of Sharon Tate in 1969. The world was stunned as the crimes of the Manson family were revealed. Honestly, how does followers not stop and wonder, wait, are we really following someone who believes Hey Jude is a rallying cry? The Manson family's crimes marked the end of the peace and love era of the 60s, showing that not all families are created equal, especially when their leader has a swastika carved into his forehead. The 6th century BC, a time when you might assume people were busy farming, hunting, and just, surviving. Sure, but at the same time we had nerds. Super nerds. A lot of them. Welcome to the cult of Pythagoras. These people thought that numbers were the most important reality, the sacred truth that formed the basis of everything in the universe. That seems kinda correct, doesn't it? But they were weird, okay? Pythagoras, the man who created the triangle theorem that continues to haunt high school students everywhere, wasn't just a regular math teacher. He thought that numbers had special powers and that knowing them could bring about spiritual awakening. His followers, who were a group of dedicated enthusiasts, made a promise to stay quiet, embraced vegetarianism, and filled their days with thoughts about numbers. And rather than worshipping a god, they chose to worship triangles, which might honestly be the least relatable symbol of spiritual essence or whatever. Pythagoras had very interesting rules. Beans, for example, were straight up banned. What did this man have against beans? Did a bean murder his family? Close, but no. Our buddy Pythagoras was fully convinced that beans had souls. Today, he's known more for his theorem than his revolutionary no-bean policies. The White Brotherhood of the 1920s. Somehow, not racists, but a spiritual group from Bulgaria that focused on purity and enlightenment. Started by Peter Dunov, this group thought that they would cleanse themselves of the world's impurities by using dance, music, and a very strict diet. Fitness was their passion and their religion. Dunov's followers dedicated themselves to spiritual development through a dance known as panorhythmy, which they thought could purify the soul, which really ended up as a crowd of people dressed in white robes spinning around in the Bulgarian field. They became hella particular about their food choice and eliminated all the impure items to reach enlightenment through strict dieting. And there were a lot of rules. And although it didn't result in mass death or intense mathematical obsession, the White Brotherhood serves as a clear reminder that maybe your quest for spiritual purity has gone off the rails as soon as you start inventing new dance moves. This religion sounds healthy as hell. I don't know about you guys, but I could really use a trainer like Dunov. The Brethren. 1971, right in the center of America, a group called the Brethren popped up. They had one goal: to shun away the comforts of modern living. Picture a world where televisions, automobiles, and pizza delivery are viewed as interruptions from a greater purpose. These people embrace the idea of less is more in a whole new way, getting rid of all the unneeded comforts like, electricity and heating. So like, the Amish, I hear you ask? Nope, this is different, maybe. The Brethren, who were guided by Christian values, sought to live a life without the distractions of the world. When they talked about temptations, they were really referring to anything created after the 18th century. They avoided any personal items, modern hygiene products, and any type of entertainment that wasn't the Bible. Forget about like concerts and movie nights. These folks were deep in meditation always, probably thinking about how nice it would be to have a hot shower. The Brethren, as devoted Christians, just wanted to simplify life, like minimalism to the max. With their fasting, praying, and overall avoidance of anything fun, the Brethren really nailed the less is more lifestyle. The Church of Scientology. This one was started by a sci-fi writer named L. Ron Hubbard. Again, sci-fi writer. The Church of Scientology might be the only group that might turn its own history into a hit movie. Scientology focuses on auditing, which is a method where members share their innermost thoughts and secrets while holding two metal cans linked to an e-meter. It seems like a bit of an exaggerated therapy session, which is probably true. But in this case, it makes sense because they're trying to get rid of these annoying alien spirits called thetans. Scientology offers spiritual growth, but there's a little twist. The organization thinks that people are everlasting spiritual beings who are burdened by traumas from previous lives, especially those related to aliens, and that only through Scientology can they let go of this cosmic weight. For those who can afford the rising membership fees, they may reach the highest level of that hierarchy, a kind of exclusive VIP area that Hubbard referred to as Operating Thetan. And what's the cost? Oh, just tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But does that money even matter when eternal spiritual freedom is at stake? No, didn't think so. The Church of Scientology is very well known for its famous celebrities, as well as its secretive nature, significant wealth, and whispers of a spy network that could rival MI6. Hubbard began his career as a writer of pulp fiction, but he eventually created one of the most debated belief systems out there, the Church of the Firstborn. If you're not feeling well right now, the Church of the Firstborn will definitely not be the best spot for a boost. It was established in 1901, and this Christian group strongly believes that faith alone can cure any sickness. It sees modern medicine as a barrier to spiritual cleanliness. For them, going to the hospital isn't just unnecessary, it's almost like a betrayal. Members of this church think that getting medical help shows a lack of faith in God's ability to heal. And rather than seeking help from doctors, they depend on prayer and anointing with oil, and they just pray for divine intervention to arrive. Unfortunately, this method has frequently led to really bad outcomes, particularly in situations where medical help could have just saved lives. And in certain states, the church has faced legal issues regarding child neglect, showing that while faith can achieve great things, it's not very helpful when treating pneumonia. Even with the debates around it, the church stays true to its beliefs. But you can't stop anyone for their beliefs. People still follow this belief system in the 21st century, which is insane. The coconut cult. Alright, it's about time we talked about the coconut cult from Fiji, where coconuts are more than just a cool drink. They're like a holy spirit. This cult has roots that are hard to trace, maybe because it's such a universal idea. They focus on the coconut as a symbol, and they practice nature-based rituals. They believe that this simple fruit contains the key to life, understanding, and maybe even a delicious pina colada. The coconut cult sees coconuts as representations of purity and spiritual insight. They believe that by eating and respecting coconuts, they're linking themselves to the natural rhythms of the universe and discovering the mysteries of the cosmos. The coconut cult may be one of the least harmful groups on the list. If you want to visit, just get ready to promise your loyalty to a fruit and maybe take enough coconut oil home to last forever. But hey, you can do whatever you want as long as you subscribe and watch this video over here.